I'm going to talk briefly about far infrared. And yeah, it is interesting, right? I wasn't taught in physical therapy school about magnetics. I wasn't taught in my PhD program about magnetics. But I really was. I learned about nerve conduction and how cells talk to one another, about how the brain talks to the organs, and how the bone regenerates itself and gets stronger after injury. And it's all electricity, it's all magnetics. So once I realized that, I was like, of course this makes sense. It has to make sense. It's based on science. It's not some, frou-frou thing that doesn't work. So it's like, ah. So I'm really excited about the far infrared technologies, especially because of the duct tape. And we're going to do a little duct tape demo at the end. I'm going to use Roger as my victim to show you guys an application and how you can use it. But just a little bit, brief outline. I'm going to talk just briefly about the electromagnetic energy itself and the spectrum, the benefits of far infrared, and then we'll go into the work. So we have, this is going back, I am by the way a complete science nerd, so I love the science side of things. Testimonials I think are great, but I love the science part too. So we have the sun out there giving us all of its beautiful warm rays and sending down the love and everything. And it's this electromagnetic radiation spectrum that we get from the sun, right? This is another reason I think it's interesting that people say, well, magnets don't work, or energy isn't really something that's there because I can't see it. Well, do you think that your microwave oven doesn't work because you can't see the energy that it puts out? Or that your radio and your television don't work because you can't see the waves going through the air? Of course not, right? But people think, well, Tai Chi doesn't work, or Reiki doesn't work, or acupuncture doesn't work because I can't see that. And I don't understand that. But so here's our spectrum. We have what we can see, the visible light, right? The beautiful rainbows and all the colors and everything that we can see. Anything here to the right side has higher energies, and these energies can actually be harmful for us. So we have to be careful about how much we're exposed to them. The ultraviolet light is where you get your sunburns. Right? I finally learned that I cannot get a tan, I will become a lobster. So I finally got that into my head after I got to college. I didn't know about thermal wear at the time, now I have my needed thermal wear, right? And then everything else you can't see here below the red spectrum, and the infrared is called infrared, infra meaning below, so below the red is right where the infrared is. And it's divided into different lengths based on their frequencies and the waveforms. So we have near infrared, medium infrared, and far infrared. And as Dr. Nelson mentioned, about 50% of the heat and the energy that we get to the sun, from the sun comes to us in the form of infrared. It's extremely important for all living things on the earth to have this infrared energy, and it's very healing for us, and it's something that we crave actually. So far infrared is not only something that we get from the sun, but it's something that we emit because we have energy within ourselves as well, okay? And one of the best ways to feel this far infrared energy is to think about which of you, if you have a spouse or partner, who is the furnace between the two of you, right? There's always one person that's the furnace, who's my furnace, right? That furnace that you feel, that heat that you're feeling, is that far infrared energy that's being transmitted as radiant heat from the person that has more of it than you do, right? Then what it does is it causes a gentle thermal effect or heating effect, and it actually heats the tissue through a thermal mechanism, which involves the direct transfer of heat, and a non-thermal mechanism that apparently the scientists don't still understand very well. But it goes back to the idea that everything in the universe is made of energy. Like Dr. Nelson showed you a picture, I loved his presentation by the way, of the energy, the atoms, the electrons. Everything is vibrating. And we look at ourselves and I think, well, I'm solid, right? I can't walk through walls. Ooh. But really, I'm not solid. I'm made up of atoms and electrons, and so I'm made up of a whole bunch of cells that are constantly vibrating. So really, if I understood how all of my cells were organized and how I could play with those bonds, I could actually walk through a wall. Because I'm made up of vibrating cells and energy, and so is the wall. I haven't figured that one out yet. If anyone figures it out, let me know. We also have the non-thermal mechanism, as far as we understand, is based on what's called a resonant frequency. And all cells and all beings have a frequency at which they prefer to inherently vibrate. Okay? So everything is vibrating, everything has its own frequencies. And we notice this as human beings when we feel happy and joyful. I would say that we're closer to our resonant frequency than when we're feeling angry or sad, for example. Okay, so we feel these vibrations as emotions. And we have a particular vibration that we really want to be at. And so we will do what we can to try to get ourselves to experience things that will help us be at that vibration. Okay? So one of the ways that the scientists think that the far infrared works through a non-thermal effect is by the energy coming down in the spectrum and the effect that it has on our own cells and resonating at a similar frequency. Great stuff. You don't have to tell your clients any of this, or the people that you share this with, right? But you may have someone who's kind of science nerd like I really want to know. So there you go. If you want to know more, there's tons and tons you can read about it, right? One of the things that you guys have probably most familiar with far infrared is the far infrared saunas. Right? And as I was looking at this, I was talking to Rody yesterday, and I said, now I want a sauna. And he said, you don't need a sauna, you have vegan thermal wear. Oh, right, very true. Right? I just need to wear that more often. So lots and lots and lots of benefits to far. All right, so duct tape. I am going to skip this little video because of time, but this is a Nikon company video. It came out just in August of this year. You can find it on the Nikon YouTube channel. It's kind of like their little promo video for duct tape, and it gives you just some great basic information if you want to look that up. Okay. So let's talk briefly about some guidelines for duct tape and what you would or would not want to do with it, and then I'm going to have Roger come up and I'll show you a little demonstration. Okay. So there really isn't much that you do not want to do with it, because there's only one way you can cause harm, and that's because it's tape, right? What do you not want to do with tape? Wrap it around something, right? All right, this picture did not turn out very well, but this is my attempt at showing you not to do this, okay? My finger here is actually starting to turn purple because I wrapped the tape around, and so I've cut off circulation. Right? Do not do that with the tape. When you apply the tape, you want to apply it longitudinally this way instead of around something. Okay? You don't want to create a tourniquet effect. You want to increase the blood flow. You don't want to cut it off. The other thing you want to be careful of with the tape is you don't want to put tape or anything that's adhesive directly over an open wound. Okay? But however, the duct tape can still help the wound, but you want to dress the wound, and then you can put the tape over it to help hold the dressing in place. And that way you can still get the benefits from the far infrared to help the wound healing. Okay? So these are the basic guidelines. The website at the bottom is from another company that produces KT tape or Kinesio tape, and they have a lot of little videos and instructional things you can look at and go through for specific areas. So if you're looking for some other resources, it's a great place to go. I would also recommend to use them. A lot of you guys are already doing this, but use the tape to hold the power chips in place, or the power minis. Right? If you've got some discomfort somewhere, put the chip there, and then use the duct tape to hold it in place. This is one of the reasons I love the duct tape, is because it's conformable to any part of your body. So if you have something that, an area that's harder to get to, or you can't put one of the little sleeves over, use the duct tape instead. Okay? And then I'm going to get this table ready as I finish telling you. The other thing that I think is really important is don't be afraid to experiment with it. And I'm so happy to hear so many of you have come up to me and shared with me your experiences with the duct tape, and I love hearing those stories. So thank you for sharing them with me. You do not have to have a degree in anything to use this. Right? Yes, it's helpful if you know your anatomy, if you're trying to treat a particular muscle. Right? Where does the muscle start and where does it end? Where does it attach? But you can feel your arms. Right? You can kind of get a sense. You can kind of get a sense by feeling your thighs that the muscles are running this way and not running this way. That's all you need to know. Right? Take the tape and apply it in the direction that the muscle moves. That's it. Don't be afraid to try it. Right? You're not going to cause any harm, even if it's not applied perfectly, maybe the way a therapist or a chiropractor or somebody else would do it. It's still going to be beneficial for the people that you work with and that you're helping. Right? Give it a go. All right, so I'm going to have Roger lay on his belly for me. And we're gonna pretend that he hurt his calf. And you don't have to have them lie on their stomach, you know, they can sit in a chair, but this way I figured you guys could all see this a little better. You can relax a minute. So, I have already cut my strip of tape to make this a little bit easier. But what you want to do first is measure out the length of tape that you want. So just take it, I'm going to put it on his calf. I'm going to assume that he went out running. Neither of us run. He went out running and he comes back and he said, oh, I haven't been running in years and so my calf hurts. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to take care of you. So we're going to pretend that he's hurting right about in here. Okay? So I'm just going to take my tape, I'm going to measure out about how long I want. I'm going to go longer than I need because even if the muscle is hurt here, the muscle is very long, and so I want to cover more of the muscle because it will help the muscle heal. Okay? So I measure out my length and I cut my tape. And then I'll come out the light. You want to round off the corners of your tape. Okay? And you do that because it helps the tape stay in place better. If you have, if you leave the corners at 90-degree angles, they will catch on clothes easier and it'll come off easier. Right? So now the thing is, I have this backing on tape. I hate getting backing off tape. But duct tape makes it really, really easy. It's elastic tape, so all you have to do is stretch it. Whoa. Right? I'll do it again because it's really fun. Just pull the tape and stretch it, and the backing will start to peel. Okay, now the next tip. Do not take the entire backing off because the tape will stick to itself and then you're done. It doesn't unstick. Okay, so peel it toward the end and then just leave it on. Okay, and now all I'm going to do is I'm going to just take off the one end that I need to start with. Okay. So I'm going to start right down here. So the calf muscle comes into your Achilles tendon and it attaches down here at the heel and then wraps around under the bottom of the foot through the plantar fascia. But we're not going to go to the bottom of the foot, so I'm just going to start at the heel. And you want to rub the tape because that will start to kind of activate the adhesives in it and it'll help it stay in place better.
Do you feel better already?
Yes, it's amazing.
It's because it's me.
Yes.
It's energy. So then I take the tape and I peel it, and I just, as I've peeled it, I'm holding the tape just a little bit taut, and then I take my other free hand and I just gently rub it over the area that I want. Okay?
So you're not actually stretching it, you're just...
So I'm not stretching it, but you can. Okay? There's more of the science part behind the stretching, but if you do apply a little bit of stretch, it will actually help the tape a little bit more. If you're trying to help a muscle, if you apply a little stretch, it creates a little bit of tension, and it essentially will help pull the skin up a little bit, which creates more space in the tissue, which makes it easier for all the metabolites and the oxygen and everything else to flow through the tissues that are underneath there. Especially if it's kind of an acute thing and you've got some swelling, it's a helpful thing to do. Okay? One thing to keep in mind if you apply stretch, there's never any stretch at the very ends of the tape, only in the middle part. Okay? So I can apply a little bit of stretch, and all I want to do is follow the contours of the body. Right? Don't try to make the tape go where it doesn't want to go. It'll tell you where it wants to go. Okay? And then I rub the middle part down that I've given a little stretch to, and again, no stretch on the end, and then I just set that down, and then I rub that in place. And the wonderful thing about this tape is I've had someone, it stayed on her for 7 days, for an entire week, and she was taking showers and everything. It's fantastic. So that's the basics of the application for it.